How do? Got an absolutely another wild story here coming from Poland. It looks like Donald Tusk is trying to drag the European country back into the Soviet Union era again. Not only has he recently shut down the state television simply because they are broadcasting things that he does not like, we are now seeing that ex-ministers from the previous administration are being arrested and sent to jail. Let's crack on with this story. Polish ex-ministers head for jail as police swoop on presidential palace. Crazy, crazy, crazy story. Now, go visit the site after this. Look at the pictures. It is wild. Now, obviously, if serious criminality is going on, I know I had quite a bit of an exciting opening. If there is serious criminality going on, obviously ministers need arresting. But what is happening in Poland at the moment, I am not convinced that this is actually law and order being enforced. This seems more like about establishing a particular worldview and trying to force out ideology that they find to be unpalatable. But when we live in modern democracies, it doesn't matter if you agree with somebody else's opinions or not. They are allowed to have them. Otherwise, a democracy doesn't function and it becomes an authoritarian state. And what we need to remember as well is that in industrialised and developed countries, usually when countries lurch to extremes, you tend to find poorer countries move to communism, as we're seeing, we say Russia and China, but more developed and industrious countries move towards fascism, as we saw with like Italy and Germany. So Donald Tusk, I'm afraid, needs to be very, very careful with this game that he's playing. And they've seen the same in Italy as well, where there have been rallies of black shirts meeting up doing Roman salutes. Although that is I'm going off the story here, but for those who are thinking that is links to Mr. A.H., the mid-century German, Austrian painter with a moustache. It isn't. He was actually inspired by Mussolini and his fascists. So the Roman salute actually originally originates in Rome, which is why it's called a Roman salute. So for Italians, doing the salute does not have the same connotation, so to speak, as what we may perceive it as being. So there is at least that aspect of it. So Warsaw, January 9th, police entered Poland's presidential palace to detain two of their former bosses on Tuesday, executing a court order to take the ex-interior minister and his deputy to prison and escalating a row between the head of state and the new government. Prime Minister Donald Tusk had earlier accused President Andrzej Duda of obstructing justice after the two lawmakers appeared at the palace, prompting police to search for them in cars leaving the building. This is like something from a banana republic. Like, the thing about a functioning democracy is you need losers' consent, but you also can't go persecuting your political opponents either, because all that happens is it becomes a race to the bottom. And I've got a feeling a lot of people who support Donald Tusk or have supported Donald Tusk may look at this, and a lot of them are going to be old enough to remember the Soviet Union, and they're going to be looking at this and going, this ain't what we signed up for, Governor. We don't want this. And I know for a fact, with the raids that have been happening, the liquidation now of the state television broadcaster, a lot of his supporters have found that very, very distasteful and are really, really unhappy with it, because that is very, as far as they're concerned, that harks back to Joseph Stalin, and they do not want that again. And we're very lucky, actually, that the Polish actually stood up to Stalin, and they helped to actually bring the Soviet Union to collapse. So thank you very much, Poland, for getting rid of that lingering fart that stuck around for 60 years. The accusations over the two lawmakers, Mariusz Kaminski and Maciej Wasik. I do apologise if I'm saying these names wrong. Unfortunately, to me, when I see Polish names, it looks like a cat has walked over a keyboard. So I do apologise if I'm butchering those names. Were the latest salvo in a row that is likely to be one of many during a period of cohabitation in which the government and president are from differing political camps. Well, that is also another thing we could end up seeing here: the police being sent to arrest one side and then being sent to arrest the opposition. This could actually tear Poland apart. After winning power in an October election, Tusk and a former top European Union official has vowed to undo policies by his predecessors, the National Law and Justice PIS, who would face accusations of subverting democracy during their 8-year rule. New Interior Minister Marcin Kuriński said everyone is equal before the law. I can't even pronounce this person's name. I'm going to have to call you Gary, sorry. Gary, the head of the president's chancellery, told private broadcasters TV Republica the police entered the palace while Duda was at his other official residence in Warsaw, Belvedere, meeting exiled Belarusian opposition leader Svetlana. I can't pronounce that surname, so I'm not going to attempt it because I will just make an absolute dog's dinner of it. We believe that they entered illegally. The Chancellery employees did not resist. The police were rude. They did not want to talk to me and they did not provide me with any document that they would authorise their actions, she said. When Duda was informed, he wanted to come immediately, but the exit from the Belvedere Palace was blocked by a city bus. Hundreds of protesters gathered in front of the presidential palace at the behest of the PiS party, of which Kaminski and Vasic are members, and in front of a police station where the two were being held. Like I say, the Polish people, from what I understand, I don't know a right lot about Poland, but they've got an incredibly proud history of resisting. And it was the Polish who actually turned the Ottoman Turkish invasion away from Austria about approximately 400 years ago, when the city had been besieged for about 20 years. But they've also obviously got the history of collapsing communism and pushing communism out of their country and leading to the eventual collapse of communism across the entire Soviet Union, really. So, and this is something that I do believe Polish people are incredibly proud of, and so they should be as well. By the way, it's they've got incredibly rich history from what I've learnt about it. Fascinating people. Where people like I think it may have been the Tatars who and the Visigoths. I think originate from that sort of area who led to the collapse of the Roman Empire, the Western Roman Empire, and there's loads and loads of history around it. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, so I could be getting the clans wrong that originate from the sort of Poland area. But very interesting, very interesting, rich history. The crowd chanted, but sorry, the point I was getting on to. So they need to be careful here because these people will not lie down in Poland, and they will take action, or if they're not happy, and if they think they're being oppressed, and they see. I think if they even get a hint of Soviet-style authoritarianism in their country, I think the whole country will go absolutely wild, and I think you'll see the left and the right, at least on that, unionising together to get rid of the perceived communist threat, because they cannot stand it. In a post on X, PiS spokesperson Rafat Bochenek called the police's actions earlier in the day an illegal kidnapping and a violation of all democratic rules. In 2015, weeks following PiS assumption to power, Duda, a PiS ally, issued a pardon to Kaminski after he was convicted of abuse of power in a previous role at the head of Poland's Central Anti-Corruption Bureau. The pardon allowed him to become Interior Minister. Well, he's been pardoned, whether you like it or not, that's a pardon. So it can't be, if you've been pardoned, it's gone. Kaminski has been accused of allowing agents under his command to use entrapment as an investigation. He denied wrongdoing. Lawyers questioned whether Duda could pardon Kaminski before an appeals court had issued a final ruling. The Supreme Court said last year the case should be reopened, and Kaminski and Vasic, his deputy in the Interior Ministry, was sentenced last month to 2 years in prison for abuse of power. Very dangerous. I mean, again, I don't know the ins and outs of it. I mean, these are accusations. They could be legitimate. I don't want to comment on how foreign countries should run their affairs, but my goodness, I think they're playing with fire here, and I think sometimes you better letting sleeping dogs lie. On Tuesday, the President's office posted a picture of Kaminski and Vasic with Duda at an official event at the palace. A sombre dictatorship is being formed. We cannot allow for Poland to hold political prisoners, Kaminski said after the event before re-end. I mean, that is going to resonate so strong with the Polish people, even with younger people who are too young, who were born after the collapse of the Soviet Union. The parents and the grandparents will have raised them on stories about what it was like and about the glorious kicking out of the Soviet Union from their country. So these people will. I'm lost for words, really. I'm going to leave it there. There's a little bit left, but it's not really giving any more to the story. So if you please go and visit the story yourselves, finish it, reading it. But there's some interesting pictures on there for you to have a look at as well. Well worth looking into. I'll put the link below for you. If you've enjoyed that, found it informative or interesting, anything like that, please like, subscribe, put a comment below. Speak to you later. Bye bye.